Good evening. My name is John. I'm a software engineer with about 10 years of experience. Let's do some LeetCode. Earlier today I was streaming. I'm streaming again. Earlier today my stream cut out, and so I said something, and I don't actually know if it was recorded to YouTube. I said next time that I stream LeetCode, I will do the paid version. And so you can see the proof in front of us. November 16, paid it up. And you can also see that I used this in the past for years. So LeetCode Premium, I think it's definitely worth it. And the reason is it helps you identify the commonly used questions. Okay. So we're going to wrap up this parentheses question, and then we'll proceed now that we have frequency unlocked. So we're just doing some easies. And, oh, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me, sorry about that. Parker, I was in your live a while ago. You were talking about making a lot of website. What app do you use? Next.js. And I usually use this thing called Blitz. Although I'll be transparent with you, I'm thinking about switching over to the T3 stack. I think my next from scratch project, I'll try out a new framework. Blitz is still good, but I think other things have been growing faster. Let me show you something. TRPC. Let me tell you something. Have you seen that meme? And then we'll get back to the LeetCode momentarily, but I think this is worth bringing up. Why I'm one of Blitz's biggest proponents. Why am I considering not using it anymore? And the answer is growth rate. So TRPC has grown about 5x. I guess 4x. When I looked at it, it was getting closer to 500K, but now it's like 420. So over 4x year over year. So that it's over 400K. Now let's compare Blitz.js. And we're going to compare the server, the query library in particular. Blitz.js. RPC. This is the one. So it's the query layer is like the key reason that I would leave Blitz. They have a really cool query layer, but it's not recognized by most people. And so that creates a problem. It creates a problem when I'm like sharing code, working with other people, trying to teach people. It creates a barrier. As much as I love this query system, I would be elated if Blitz.js would include TRPC. And there were conversations about doing this months ago, if not over a year ago at this point. And they were positive conversations. Like everyone seemed receptive. But it's like the maintainer capacity for Blitz has gone way down. It's not absent, but it's way down. So I think a big change like that, if it happens, I think it's going to take a long time. And so the pragmatic thing to do might be just to stop using Blitz, unfortunately. And so here you can see that it's gone from about 3,000 to 4,500. So it's gone up like 50%. But 50% versus 5x, it's like an order of magnitude difference, right? And forgetting about the growth rate, even the levels are like 2 orders of magnitudes difference. So those are reasons that I am planning to go with TRPC. A lot of this also pairs with advances in AI. So Blitz.js has really good code generation tools. Those tools are comparatively less needed in an era where GPT can just generate my code. And in fact, I've even found myself using GPT to generate code that Blitz should be able to generate, but it hasn't been built out, such as form input fields for like a select option form field. So Blitz comes with like labeled text input, but other form fields don't come out of the box. So GPT-4 is able to like create those. So if I'm using that anyway, like, do I even need the code generator? You see what I'm saying? So at that point, Blitz.js loses one of maybe 3. It has maybe 3, 4, 5 really cool pillars. That's not like the only cool pillar about Blitz, but it's like a big one that it loses. So that's my answer, Parker. And then if you want to know in particular about Next.js with Store, there's the Next.js Commerce. And I'll give you one more tip before we resume. So Next.js Commerce is going to be like a open source thing that you can use for making a store. And then the other thing I would point you to is what I'm considering with Latterly. And I'll be trying this out fairly soon in the next month or so. So you can tag along, follow the page, and keep an eye on this when I get to it. Store part 2. And that is using this headless dropshipping, which is an open source project to integrate Snipcart. And Printful and Next.js and Tailwind and some other tools. The cool thing here is that it has subscription. That is why I think this one's interesting. So if you're doing a store where you don't need subscriptions, if you're just doing one-off sales of like shirts, you might not need this. But for my use case with Latterly, I want to enable subscription. So today you can do one-off payments, but I would like these to be recurring. And it's harder to do. Or maybe I just have a gap in my knowledge. Maybe subscriptions aren't that hard and I just don't know how to do them with Stripe, which is what's currently integrated. All right, cool. Thanks for being here, everyone. If you're on TikTok, you can go over to YouTube. Link is in my bio. See the full screen. Let's get into some actual LeetCode. Let's see. So create hello world function and I don't know, maybe predict the winner. I'd like to do a combination of high frequency and easy, but maybe I'll go for mediums. Yeah, we can get into medium soon. That seems fine. And I'm also trying to keep a mental checklist of kata. So I'm trying to develop a few problems that will take you through many algorithms that you can sort of memorize, like a martial arts kata. And you can basically run through these kata before your algorithm interview and refresh your memory and bring them to front of mind and prime you for your algorithm interview. That's one of the big things that I'm trying to do this quarter, basically, is work through a bunch of these problems so that I can figure out like a kata, basically, that is helpful tool to everyone. Okay, so this question is the valid parentheses. And I did like 3 implementations and none of them were really optimal. So that's when I cut over to the solutions. Sometimes I'll just do one, but in this case, for whatever reason, I gave it like 2 or 3 rewrites. And I was looking for good solutions. Best solution ever, I think, is the one that I found. No. Sorry. It was in Python and JavaScript. And I actually didn't like the Python solution. Python 3. Yeah, this one. So, oh no, is my stream, am I frozen again? Why do I keep freezing, dude? Is my stream actually frozen or no? My stream actually frozen or no? Okay, it looks like it's not freezing. Gosh, okay. Sorry, my software that gives me the preview is messed up, but it seems like the stream itself is actually working. Okay, so we'll keep going then. Yeah, this OPCL thing is like really opaque to me. It's not intuitive, and I don't want it. So what I do like is the JavaScript solution here, which is kind of like in the direction of what I originally did. So I'm translating this into Python, and I think that's going to be a useful learning exercise, and then we'll do like a new like fresh problem. Sound good? All right, let's do it. So we'll go over the description one more time. This is like checking valid parentheses. There are 3 characters, the left form and the right form. So there's the paren, the brace, and the bracket. And we have these basically cases, like you can see this is invalid. So it's not closing all the brackets. This is good. And then there's an edge case like nested parentheses. That's going to be considered invalid in this case. And then what if it's like alternating? So what if it's left paren, left bracket, right paren, right bracket? So they do resolve, but they're asymmetric. That's also going to be considered invalid in this case. We want to resolve the most recently opened parenthesis before moving on to the next kind. So that's a summary of the problem here. And again, we're just jumping into the solution and translating from JavaScript to Python. Okay, and so here's the JavaScript solution. Let's look over. Here is the Python code. This is just, I was showing someone what a nested loop is on the stream before. We can get rid of that. Okay, so we're going to start with a stack, and this is like, I like to label things not just after the data structure, but in a way that is going to help me remember what's going on from the algorithm perspective. So this is like a look ahead. This is like a look ahead stack. We store the right char that we need to encounter, we store the right chars that we need to resolve parens already opened. Okay, so we'll initialize it like that. And we're going to do a for loop. So this will be for, we might want to do for s, like for char in s. But we'll just use the regular range for now. So we'll do ichar in range 0 to I end, which is equal to the length of s. Okay, just kind of cache that calculation. Range might already cache it. Range might already do caching internally. I think it's a generator, but I'm not sure about that. So whatever, safe than sorry. Okay, and here now we have our if conditions. So let's get the cur char. Char means like character, like letter, like symbol. Does that make sense? And so this is going to be an index of s. This is going to be ichar of s. Okay, so we have the cur character, and we're going to do a bunch of if conditions. If cur char is the left paren, and we'll do else if, and one more, because it might not be a left character at all. So we have the left paren, the left bracket, the left brace, and then here it's a right char in this case, and we don't need an else. And so at the end of this, we're going to return that the look ahead stack is empty. Look ahead stack equals 0. And what that means is we have no unresolved, valid if we have 0 unresolved open chars. Open/left chars. So these left characters, left paren, left bracket, left brace, they are opening a loop. They're opening an expression block that needs to be closed or resolved. And so by saying that the look ahead stack size is 0, that means that we've resolved them all, because we're going to add things onto the stack, and when they're resolved, we're going to take them off. That's the idea. Make sense? All right, cool. 100 likes. Thank you so much. You can go to YouTube, link is in my bio, and see the full screen. So what do we do in these conditions? We basically put stuff onto the stack, like I said. And you can see this in the JavaScript form as well, and we're just turning it into Python now. So look ahead, it'll be append, if I'm not mistaken, in Python. And so in this case, we just want to append the negative, basically. In these three cases. And the last case is a little bit different. Whoa, there's a bunch of white space somehow. Cool, so left, right, right, left, right. Okay? And now it's a right char if we resolve, or so this will be like resolve or return false. Okay? You can see they have a cute expression in JavaScript here, which really does like 2 or 3 things at once. I'm going to go ahead and break that up. So here I'll say else, and I'll say must resolve char. That's going to be stack.pop, basically. We call it the look ahead stack. So what this is doing, you know how I said it's a look ahead stack? It's the thing that we're looking for. Now we are in a place where we found one of those right characters, one of those closers. Not only do we want to match, we have to match, because remember the alternating scenario, left parenthesis, left bracket, right parenthesis, right bracket. In theory, we're looking for left parenthesis and left bracket, right? But we don't just want to look for these, we want to look for them in order, which means the next one that I need to find, I must resolve that innermost one. If it's not a match, anything else that it's going to be means that I'm in an alternating situation, so I need to return false. So this look ahead stack, we're going to take the very last element, that's what the pop does. We're going to take the very last element off of that and say, this must match. If it does, we'll continue. And maybe we can take a bunch of them off, and that's how we eventually get down to 0. If it doesn't, it's return false right now. Make sense? Board Nurse here. What coding language do I start with? Thanks. I usually recommend React. So that would be JavaScript, and you can build websites to start with. LeetCode grind is not it. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of LeetCode, but it's the job search, right? You access a significant amount of additional jobs with LeetCode competency, as well as better compensation. So I am all for shifting the industry away from LeetCode, but until that happens, got to do it sometimes. Okay, cool. So this is the must resolve char. That's why we're calling it that. And then we'll pop that off. Cool. And if cur char is the must resolve char, really we just get to continue. But I don't need to write this block at all, actually. So what I can do is, if they're not equal, return false. Otherwise do nothing, just continue. Does that make sense? Because it's going to loop back around that for loop, so it's basically a continue statement. I think coding assessments should be done, but people out here just memorizing solutions. You're right. It's all a farce. It's all a game, isn't it? I think GPT is going to help us break this loop. Let me know your thoughts, Harvey. Thanks for being here, by the way. It's not going to happen right away, but I think in the next 1 to 5 years, somewhere in that range, and I get it's a big range, fine. Depending on how you look at it, that could be considered a small range, though. I think in the next 1 to 5 years, algorithm interviews will increasingly allow and begin to allow, and then after they begin, like to an increasing extent, allow the interviewee or the job candidate to use GPT. And once that becomes commonplace, the memorization goes away. Like, it doesn't matter that you can memorize stuff anymore. What it becomes about at that point is, do you know the right questions to ask GPT? And do you know the right way to use what it tells you? Which at that point, you're actually thinking about the concepts. You actually are thinking about the concepts. You might still memorize the questions, but you'll be memorizing a concept along with the question, which is kind of what we try to do today anyway, right? All right, let's run these. Unterminated string literal. Oh, my bad. Looks good. Pop from an empty list. Okay. I think I can just return false in that case. So what this means is we encountered a right char before left is illegal. Cool, that solved it. Bam! Thanks for the follow. Mason, what up? Mason, is the screen frozen or can you see it? I think like my preview thing is messed up, but I actually looked at the YouTube stream for a hot second and it looked like it was still working. If you're on TikTok, you can go over to YouTube. Link is in my bio. That is a crazy username. I don't know how to say that. Chat says, is there a LeetCode for SAS or R? Not SAS. For R, there could be. Let's see. I've never seen that, but in theory, there could be. I don't see it, at least not on the official leetcode.com. There are other sites, right, like Algo Expert, but I don't think Algo Expert does R. One of the things that's cool about Algo Expert is they have all the solutions for like really complicated algorithms, even some that are not on LeetCode. They have step-by-step walkthroughs that are really quite good. And the solutions include JavaScript, which are not always included in LeetCode. At least they weren't the last time that I was like grinding LeetCode, but it's been like over a year, so maybe they're out here now. I don't know. Isn't there like there's a difference between the community solutions and the official solutions, right? But I don't see the official solutions. I just see the community solutions. Oh well, all right, let's continue. So now, let's go for a medium, huh? Mason says, seems fine to me. Cool. Are you doing LeetCode because you're about to interview? Yeah, I have an interview with Meta and a few other people coming up. Although I do that periodically anyway. It's not like that big of a deal. It's just kind of a good practice every 6 months to a year, especially if you can use it as leverage to ensure that your current employer gives you like a solid performance review. Kind of like insurance, if you will. And there's a secondary motivation since I'm a teacher. I do LeetCode anyway sometimes, right? Just because I teach people to code. And part of that is LeetCode. Mason says, I take that back. I checked with TikTok. It is frozen. Bummer. Why is that happening? Let me see. Why is that happening? No way. Hold on. It looked to me like it was not frozen. Did it freeze for just like a quick second or something? I just looked at it again. Anyway, there's this other thing called kata that I want to do for laterally. I don't know that I have it written up anywhere. Let's see, laterally slides maybe. So this is an open source curriculum that'll help you learn to code and land your first programming role. Laterally slides, check out curriculum.md. And then there's networking tools, endorsed community guide, networking scripts. Like, what do you say when you reach out to a recruiter? Everything is here. Everything you need is here. There are some issues though, and I think one of these Talked about kata, didn't it? Was Dolia and spaced repetition? Okay, yeah. Here's my super useful note to self. It's just like, hey, you need to make a kata tool. What about my other laterally repo? While you were checking GitHub on TikTok, we're still on LeetCode on YouTube. I don't understand that sentence. Sorry, chat. I don't understand what that means. So is it over here? What about over here? Yeah, kata article. Here we go. The kata article can be published on Laterally itself per chance, possibly per se. I'm such an idiot. I really said that. Yeah. So this is kind of the state of the art in terms of my LeetCode guidance to others. Is this, so I wrote this, right? And this builds on the 5 to 23 patterns article, which is like over 15,000 reads. So, and this builds on things you've heard of, like the 14 patterns and the blind 75. So this is like the state of the art in LeetCode guidance, but there's room to improve on this through something called kata. So anyway, that's another reason that I'm going through these. It's another reason that I'm going through these algorithm questions is so I can pick the right questions to create a kata set that touches on the most algorithms. And I mean, I could take 20 minutes and explain what I mean by that, but I really don't want to. I'd rather just get back to the questions. So basically, like, all of these like patterns are important. What is the least number of common problems that I can easily and quickly run through? That's what a kata is. It's like a martial art practice. You do the same movements over and over. It becomes like second nature. So someone was talking about like the problem about memorization earlier. It's really doing that on purpose. It's like memorization on purpose. So I get that it's like gimmicky, but that's the game. And so get good at the game. So like totally do memorize it is what I would say. So how do you memorize the patterns as efficiently as possible is you put it into a few problems. So there are some problems that touch on like multiple algorithms. In the worst case, I could do like 7 questions. Then maybe I would need to run through 7 questions. And maybe that's how it is. And maybe it's like 5 or 10 minutes a pop and your whole kata exercise, your whole warm-up takes an hour. And maybe that's okay, but that's like pushing the border of mentally exhausting me before I'm about to go into an interview. You see why that's a problem? So I think ideally I can have 3 to 5 questions that take me 5 minutes each. And now I'm under half an hour for my warm-up. Then I can take a deep breath. I can get a tea. Maybe not with coffee. We don't want to get jittery during interviews, but definitely at least a tea. And take a deep breath, relax, go into my interview, crush it. That's the goal. That's the goal. Okay, so I think that was somewhere between an off-topic rant and telling you my actual intent. So let's get back to some LeetCode. I want to see a green check here on valid parentheses. Yeah, let's go. Hello world function, let's do it. Looks like an easy, and then we'll go for that high frequency medium, which is predict the winner. I don't think I've ever done predict the winner. I don't think I've ever done that problem. That'll be fun. Write a function, create hello world. It should return a new function that always returns hello world. Okay, so it's a higher order function. Let's go over to, only JavaScript or TypeScript. What? I cannot pick Python. By the way, side note chat, I'm actually really good with JavaScript and TypeScript. It's the one that it's the language, I always use JavaScript for interviewing historically. So this time around, I was doing Python just for kicks, kind of. Like to intentionally make it harder for me. So, and it's hilarious that it's forcing me to use JavaScript because I'm actually better with JavaScript. In the past, JavaScript was not even well supported on LeetCode. So I guess that's changing. All right, so yeah, a higher order function, fine. And it just returns hello world every time. Really? Any arguments could be passed, but it will always return hello world. All right. What is this question, dude? This is like so easy, I'm freaking out about it. Is it not just like this? Hold on. Undefined. Oh. This is not the... Bro, really? I don't know what the point of it. This is a goofy question, dude. Okay. What does it mean the acceptance rate is 80%? So that means 1 in 5 people got that wrong? I'm so confused. Mason says console.log. Yeah, no, it's not console.log. It wanted you to return the value. This really, like, in minimize maximum sub pair array is a higher acceptance rate than that. Like, what is going on, bro? Maybe there's a selection effect where, because this is medium, the frequency is lower. Like a lot of less people even attempt it. So only more competent people are even attempting it. I'm really baffled by 2667. This is like, how is that leak code? I don't know. Okay, so let's go for predict the winner, and then depending how much time I have, we can do this longest palette. We can do 5 or 1877. So let's go for predict the winner. Cool. Commonly used at Cisco, apparently. Cool. You are given an array. Oh, there was a different one I wanted to check. Valid parentheses, is it common at Meta? Looks like no. Oh, Facebook, okay. Kind of, it's in the middle there. Because I think I got this question at Facebook in the past, at least one similar to it that was based on HTML DOM parsing, but it was still like figuring out the angle brackets in HTML. Oh, and there was the slash too that kept throwing me off in that one. All right. You are given an integer array nums. 2 players are playing a game with this array, player 1 and player 2. Player 1 and 2 take turns, player 1 starting first. Both players start the game with a score of 0. That's going to be a critical note. Okay, I'm in Python already. Both players start with 0. Maybe mod 2 check. Okay. At each turn, the player takes one of the numbers from either end of the array. Oh, okay. The player adds the chosen number to their score. Ooh, this would be maybe a fun game to play, right? Forget about coding it, but actually playing it. Because you could force the other person to take a lame number, potentially. Only if you get to look ahead. Otherwise, it would be less strategic. Maybe it would still be strategic, though. Okay. The player adds the chosen number to their score. The game ends when there are no more elements in the array. Return true if player 1 can win the game. True if player 1 can win. If the scores of both players are equal, then player 1 is still the winner. Talk about a slanted game, but okay. True if player 1 can win. Win is tie or higher score. Talk about a slanted game, homie. Return 1, okay. If they're both equal, the winner you should return true. You may assume that both players are playing optimally. Cool. Cool. You always want to pick the bigger number, right? Each player wants to pick the bigger number in their turn. The complicating factor here is this can they look ahead? Can they look ahead? Would there be a case? So let me think of the case where I'm trying to be strategic. So 7, 8, 9. No. 7. So 5, 9, 7, 5. Right. So here you can see I can pick either 5, but which 5 I pick is I'm going to potentially give the other player a bigger score. So can I look ahead is the question. It says you can assume they're playing optimally. So in an optimal situation, I can look ahead. So even if I don't know, even if I'm just guessing, but let's say I play mini games and I guess the optimal, just by chance, I'm guessing the optimal situation, that's effectively equivalent to looking ahead. So the answer is yes, they can look ahead if they're playing optimally. So in this case, if I'm player 1, I will pick the right 5. Okay. And it gets way more complicated than this. This is not an easy problem, yo. Okay, good. It's marked as a medium anyway. Good. So I need to be able to look way ahead, because imagine that this is like 400 elements. What happens if I sort it? Chat says use minimax tree. I really hate when the chat just tells me the answer and now I'm not actually using my brain. Yeah, I might do that. I'm gonna hold off and try to use my own brain for a minute though. All right, so what I was thinking about is what happens if I sort it? What I'm interested in there is the case where if it's like a winner take all off one element. So like, these are like interesting cases. Like a bunch of ones is an interesting case. And then like 9,000, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, where it's just like way asymmetric. That's an interesting case. There are so many interesting cases, actually. This is a real problem. There's so many interesting cases. I don't think I can do it in O of N. I don't think I can do this in O of N. Seems like too many interesting cases. Yeah, and see, now it's infected my brain, so I just can't stop thinking about a tree. So I guess I'll have to use a tree. All right, fair enough. Yeah, it does seem like the right thing to do. So target perf O in squared by constructing a tree at every node, and then target mem. Would this be O of N or O of N squared? Let me see. What am I caching? So if I store at every node, I make the tree. Am I storing all of those trees, or am I just storing one tree? That's what I need to figure out. So what if I just store one tree? Actually, I don't need to store any of the trees. I don't need to store any of them. They can be ephemeral trees. Yeah, I can do oven. I can do onmem because trees can be ephemeral. I don't need to store many. So basically, I can build a tree and throw it away. Because as soon as I look at the tree, I'll know if player won. As soon as I build the tree, I know if player one won or not. Now, I might want to keep a collection of the scores. Do I want to keep when I get rid of the tree, do I want to still keep the record of the player one score? No. I just want to know if they won. Excuse me. I just want to know if they won or not. As soon as I build the tree, I'll know if player one won or not. Okay, cool. Well, the idea makes sense, but now I have to build a tree, and that's really tough. Per tree. Here I'll do for I and range. So we'll go from 0 up to nums. Okay. Kerchi is, I don't know. Player one moves. Let's see. For J in range 0 nums, we're in a single game. So we have player one score 0, player two score is 0. Do the stuff. And then down here, we'll return false because player one never won. Cool. Out here, if P1 score is greater than or equal to P2 score, return true. All right, so we have this inner for loop. You play a game. At the end of the game, you got these scores. Okay, actually, I guess I can take these scores up here so that it resets it. It resets it every... We play in games. We play in games. Haha, get it? How many games have you created? Like maybe 3 or 2? 2 or 3? Not a whole lot. I'm not like a great game developer. Oh, you know what? If you count... Okay, so it's like 2 or 3 games that I've coded. If you count all the games that I've made without coding, just like GMing and like... You know, like I've made like party games and stuff like that. Then it's a lot more. And I made some games. You can check out my YouTube. I made some games using ChatGPT, like played games with ChatGPT, but I didn't code in those. So depends what you're asking. If you're asking like how many video games have I coded, the answer is like 2 or 3, and they weren't particularly good. Oh, also back in the day, I tried to like build some RPG Maker stuff. So if you count that, I don't know, we might be close to 10, like the 8 to 12 range, if you count all of that stuff. Quick reminder, chat, if you are on TikTok, you can go over to YouTube, link is in my bio, and see the full screen. So here's how we build, this is when we build the tree. This feels so wrong. It feels like I'm completely doing the wrong thing. Is this an O(n) cubed? Because if I just have the person pick the best thing for them on their turn without looking ahead, it fails. That's not a reliable strategy. It fails. You need to be able to look ahead. So either I can code the actual look ahead logic, which I'm having trouble getting my brain around, or I can just have every game permutation and see if they ever win, which that one I can get my head around, but is that O(n) cubed? It seems like not optimal, dude. And then there, I wouldn't, like this logic right here, they just randomly pick left or right. It would be a random pick. It wouldn't actually matter. No, a random pick wouldn't work because in a random pick, if I go O(n) squared and pick randomly, I might just by chance not fill out all the possibilities, right? So I need to strategically cover every game. Okay, so yeah, I need to cover every game. Is this DP? Should I be thinking about like build a game where player 1 picks cell 0, build a game where player 1 picks cell 0 and 1, and work up backwards from that? I think this is breaking my brain. I think I want to look at the solutions. Let's see. Before I look at the solutions, what was my major in college? Econ. The answer is econ. Actually, I was a double major, econ and poli-sci. Okay, so before I look at the solutions, how can I build out all the moves? You could look at the length of nums. Okay. Max count of P1 moves equals nums divided by 2 plus 1, maybe, if it's even or odd. Even input is even equals nums mod 2. It's not nums mod 2. So like 2 mod 2 is going to be 0. So we want to flip that into a truth boolean, into a yes. So we say not nums mod 2. Now we know the input is even. If input is even, max count of PL1 moves. Oh, actually, hold on. This would be better. I can get rid of some negatives. Input is odd. Input is odd. If the input is odd, then the max number of PL1 moves, he could have an extra move, basically. Otherwise, we're going to do integer floor division, and that is going to be nums floor division by 2. Okay. So to do, build every combination of moves, i.e. left versus right. So if you go left, 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 right, left, like Mortal Kombat, right, right, right. Turbo Tall, I can't see the full question, but seems like a dynamic programming question. Yeah, I think the optimal solution is, it does seem like DP. So I feel like I have a solution, but it's like so bad, right? So I'm literally building all the permutations. Okay, so let's just say I do that. Like, how would I build all the permutations? And then all the permutations in terms of left and right, starting from all the positions. That's why I was thinking O(n) cubed. But I might be doing the math on that wrong. Every permutation from every starting position. Wait, do we actually get to pick different starting positions? No, right? I'm thinking about this like they could start at any position, but that's not true. They're always going to start at the same position. So really it's just every combination. Okay. Maybe it's not that bad. I think I'm just having trouble getting my brain around it. But like, if the whole idea is to look through every permutation of left and right, that's not like outrageously difficult to implement. It might be slow. What would be the performance on that? It's just too... No, I don't know. Is it a square or a factorial? Chad says, I think it could be similar to a depth first search where you have 2 recursive calls. Maybe, yeah. That is a smart way to think about it. My brain is not working right now. I feel like I'm having an ADD problem. Like, I want to think about the problem, but my brain is like, look at the solution, look at the solution. And it's yelling that at me, so I can't actually think about writing out this thing that I want to do. All right, I'm going to time box this 5 more minutes just to do this to-do right here. And if I succeed at that, we'll try and run it. But if I can't do this in 5 minutes, I'm just going to look at the solution. So what I want to do is build out every combination of moves left versus right. Okay? This feels like an array of arrays. Array of arrays. I hate this name. Okay, so here's this. And in JavaScript, I would do fill. F-I-L-L, not P-H-I-L. Who's Phil? And then the first thing is like all L, right? All L. And then -1, -1, -1. We play in games. Yep, that's right. This is going to be a to-do. Pick best global score for P1. Okay. So what I do here is For 0 up to nums, is that even the right range? So I want to do max count of P1 moves. For every move, he could move left or right. For every move, he could move left or right. Is it really just 2n? It feels like it's it feels like it's not 2n. It feels like that's too easy. So this array of arrays, what's going to go in here? Well, I'm thinking like left, 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 left. Here's one. Left, 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 right. Left, 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 right, left. So how do I express this in a loop? How many of these are going to be there? I could do a while. So I could make a base where it's L, and then I could just do a while loop until I've covered every combination. That feels like not ideal, but maybe it would work. What about a hash map instead of an array of arrays? Is this like a trie? So I have an L, and then inside the L I have yeah. This is going to be tree of moves. Tree of moves. Oh, by the way, if it's I can escape if it's length 0 or 1, and then player 1 wins. If length nums is less than 2, return true. Really, even if it is 2, they can always pick the best one. So if it's less than 3, return true. Cool. Okay, so it's always going to be at least 3 moves. So then we can build out a tree starting with left and right. Left, and there's going to be a subtree, and then right, and there's going to be a subtree. Okay. Yeah, like DFS seems right. Or BFS. It does seem that we want to do a tree search here. Should I cache the best score while tree searching? Duh, yes you should. Duh, yes you should. Okay. So let's think about this in the DFS or BFS. Which one? I don't know. Either one. So DFS is going to be recursive. Maybe I'll kick that. Oh, dang. And then breadth is I need a queue for breadth. Yeah, maybe I should do the recursive one. So I just keep shooting down the tree until I run out of moves. That's the idea. Da, 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 da. That'll be a while loop. Best score, like whatever. I'm not even going to do it right now because I'm going to do it wrong. best score equals 0. Okay, so while cur depth equals 0 to do start at 1. Maybe I need to start at 1. Anyway, while cur depth is less than the tree of moves, max count of P1 moves. Add left move, add right move. That's what I want to do. Can I just say add move, and we'll say L. Add move. Do I need nodes, bro? Do I need some freaking nodes? How am I passing down my current location? So do I have a subtree? No, I can pass down the whole tree because it's an ephemeral tree, right? I can build it and then tear it down. That's fine. So, yeah. Really, I can get rid of those. Boom. And just have this tree of moves. So tree of moves. And then we're going to add left and right. But I need pointers. This will be like build subtree, build subtree, build subtree. It's not add move, it's build subtree. All right, whatever. All right, let's look at the solution. I think I'm in the ballpark, but my syntax is like way off. Because I'm not thinking of the efficient way to write this tree navigation. But I'll feel like I'm in the ballpark enough that like we should be doing a tree navigation. LRU cache. Ooh, can I just do that? What? LRU cache is built into Python? Yeah, dude. That's amazing. This is one of the reasons that I want to get better at LeetCode in Python than JavaScript, because I could just use this instead of having to implement my own. So n is length of numbers. What is DP here? This is not very well written in the sense that it's hard to read. So length of numbers. IJ. So we give it 0, J. From 0 to J is going to be a sum. No, it's just a max. It's a yeah, it's a min-max tree. Chat was right, but I wasn't able to remember how to write this thing. So the left hand Why is there a minus sign? That's kind of crazy. Nums I. Nums I. I want this explained better. I get what they're doing to an extent, but I want it explained better. No, I don't want to use ChatGPT. Good suggestion though, but no thanks. We need to calculate the max score difference. Why? So it is O of n squared. DP, what is... I don't like this, dude. This is not well explained. Editorial. Oh, okay, here we go.
Hello everyone and welcome. Let's talk about...
See, okay, this is because it's premium, right? I'm telling you, premium is worth it. Let's go. Oh, am I allowed to like stream this? That feels like I might not be supposed to do that. It's like 10:30. That's cool. I'm going to wrap up for now so that I can watch this myself. I feel like my brain is melting and I'm getting tired anyway. Thanks for being here. Talk to you next time.